Hi, today we're going to be talking about constellations. This is part of our star formation, universe, all the different planets lesson that we're going to be covering here the next few weeks. Constellations, you are probably familiar with at least a few of them, or at least heard of some constellations. Constellations are basically star formations. And centuries ago, mostly Greek people looked up in the sky and they saw patterns, and those patterns reminded them of certain Greek myths or stories that were common in those days. And so sometimes it's hard to look at them and see how they got these pictures, but then others you can look at and it actually does look like what they, say that it looks like or what they named it after. So one of the constellations that I have up here is called Pegasus, and Pegasus is the winged horse. And you can see some of the stars are missing, but it's showing you the major stars, the brightest stars of Pegasus. But again, it's supposed to look like a winged horse, hence the name. So again, constellations are basically star formations. They form a pattern in the sky. And here you can see a few of them. This is Cygnus. This is supposed to look like a swan. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Here is a little bit more of Pegasus. And again, how they decided this looked like a horse is a really good question. So here's just a little comic. Look, it's the Milky Way, because we've got a cow on a farm. And the Milky Way is basically the solar system that we are in. All of the stars and things, the sun makes up the Milky Way. So some cool information about constellations. There are 88 constellations that are named and have different stars that make them up. We can't see all of the different constellations at the same time. So sometimes what you see in the winter, you're not going to see in the summer. There are some constellations that we can see year round, but there are other constellations that we don't see at all because we're in the northern hemisphere. So a lot of the constellations that you're probably familiar with are going to be, well, the northern hemisphere ones. But also, if you think of where Greece is also considered to be in the northern hemisphere. So most of the stories that have all these myths and legends are based on ones that, well, the Greek people could see. There are others that are in the southern hemisphere. Sometimes we can see them, and there's some that we don't see at all because, well, Australians or people in Brazil or South America, Africa, they can see them, whereas we don't. And in other circumstances, we see them at certain times of the year. So constellations are kind of funny, but remember that the Earth is always rotating, and we're rotating around our star, which is the sun. And so the sun is not part of any constellation because, well, it's what we basically what keeps us warm. It's the closest star to us. Since it's there, it's so bright, it doesn't become one of the constellations. The constellations are the stars that are farther out. All right. So normally, when it's a normal time of year, I have you make this thing called a planisphere, or it's a star wheel. And essentially what it is you line up the date, the time of year, and you turn the wheel, and the wheel will show you what constellations should be visible in the night sky. Fortunately, we have technology. And so one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to post an app that you can use in order to look up at the sky. And it's so cool because all you do is take your phone. I have an iPhone, so that's what I know. I'm assuming Android, some of these others also have an app like this, but you hold it up into the sky and move it around, and it shows you what constellations you're looking at right then and there. It's super cool. So it kind of, gets rid of the need for one of these star wheels, which are a little bit more difficult to use, but it's so cool. So I really highly recommend that you check that out. One of the things you're going to be doing with this particular assignment is you are going to be adopting constellation. So if you're going to adopt a constellation, you want to see it. You want to be able to go out in the night sky and point out where it is, see all the different stars. So I really recommend that you get a star finder app. All right, so you may have noticed that stars appear to be moving in the sky, and some really cool photographers, people that are interested in astronomy, which study of the sky, stars, they have used time-lapse photography. Basically what that means is that there are pictures taken at different intervals. It just kind of depends on, what, but these are probably pictures that were taken in the course of a year. And you can see that the stars move. But one thing you might notice is there's a central dot right here in the middle. Well, that is the North Star. And the North Star completely lines up with our North Pole, and it doesn't move. And so since all of the other stars are moving, back when, we had to get anywhere by, ship, captains of ships, they would use the North Star to help them figure out, what direction they were going, especially if they were out in the middle of the ocean and, they didn't have good coordinates, then they could, use the North Star and they would, okay, here's north. This is the way I need to go. All right. So just keep in mind the Earth rotates. And because we do rotate around, we have Polaris, this North Star that is due north. And again, it stays put in our sky due to where it is in relation to the North Pole. And so since we are always in rotation, the other stars that aren't directly above the North Pole, we move. They don't move, but we move. And so that changes what stars we actually get to see. All right. So the axis of rotation for the Earth, you can see Polaris because of the North Pole. So here's some of those pictures again. And again, the stars seem to spin, but really it's us spinning. All right. So here's Polaris. And you can see how it directly aligns with the North Pole. It's considered the celestial north. And again, that's right in the center of all those pictures that you were seeing. So that's pretty neat. All right. So again, like I said, depending on where you're at, if you're, in the south part of the world, or if you're in the northern hemisphere, the north part of the world, you're going to see different constellations at different times. So some of these southern hemisphere constellations, you're probably not going to be familiar with. You've probably never heard of Indus or Grus or Reticulum. These are names that don't necessarily have anything to do with Greek mythology. But when you get to the northern hemisphere ones, these are, Pisces and Sagittarius. You may be familiar with those if you know anything about astrology, which is basically saying that the time of year that you were born correlates to where certain constellations and stars were in the sky. And that gives you certain characteristics or traits based on the time of year you were born. So for example, I was born on March 17th. So I'm a Pisces. And that says that I'm supposed to be kind of like an empath. And so meaning that I care about people's feelings. And I don't know, there's a lot of other characteristics. If you're interested, there is no scientific basis in it. It's considered a pseudoscience. I've always found it really interesting. I even have a huge book on astrology, but again, not scientific, just kind of cool. But the constellations, some of them are named after those particular, your horoscope, those are named after some of the constellations. All right, so we are going to be looking at a few different constellations just so you can kind of see kind of the crazy origins of them, where they kind of come from, and, get a feel for, what constellations actually are. So here we are going to start with Cassiopeia. She is the queen. And the outline here, the tracing that they've done is just some of the most bright stars. But you can see that there are other stars, one that makes up her staff, two that make up her staff, actually. There's a couple that make up her dress, and there's one that makes up the chair that she's supposed to be sitting in. But the ones that make up her body, Cassiopeia, Saph, those are the bright ones. All right, so she is considered the queen. The brightest star is Shader, and you can see Cassiopeia all year round. You just kind of have to find the position of the stars. And again, a star finder is going to help you, an app. But she was considered to be this beautiful woman, and she knew it. She was the queen of Ethiopia. She bragged about her beauty. She just thought she was hot. She just thought she was awesome. And so Poseidon, he's this sea god, and he was like, yo, you need some humility. You are too vain. I am going to put you in your place. And so what he did was he actually took her figure and put it among the stars to remind people of her vanity. I'm not sure how well that would work, because I would think having a whole constellation in the sky named after me would just kind of solidify how awesome I was. But whatever, Poseidon, he did it as a kind of a dig at Cassiopeia. So again, here's Cassiopeia, the queen of the sky. All right, Cygnus is the swan. And I really like the story. You can see here that they've only shown one star, that's Deneb, and that's the brightest star. This is kind of like a wonky looking cross, but it's the swan. You can see Cygnus all year long. And the story of Cygnus is that there were these hunters, and there were 3 of them, and they went to this beautiful lake, and there were these beautiful swans and a snow goose. And one of the hunters used his bow, and he killed one of the snow geese, and it fell into the lake. And when he did that, the whole sky got dark. And the spirit of that snow goose formed a constellation in the sky. So when you see Cygnus, which I hope you do, because again, it's all year long, you're going to be seeing the spirit of a snow goose. All right, then we have Scorpius, which is a scorpion. This one you can actually kind of tell, it sort of does look like a scorpion minus one of the claws, but you can see the kind of the tail with the point on it there. You can see Antares, it's right in the middle. It's the brightest one. This one doesn't have super bright stars like some of the other ones do. But this one is also visible all year long. This story is an ancient Greek story. And so Scorpius is, of course, the image of a scorpion. And how it got there was, there is this hunter named Orion, and you'll see Orion later. Orion is also another constellation. And Orion was a hunter, and he was considered this great hunter. Well, he decided he wanted to kill every single wild animal in the world because, well, why? I don't know. But I guess just to prove how awesome of a hunter he was. And so Gaia, which is basically like the earth goddess, she was like, no, you are not going to do that. So she got really angry. And what she did was she attacked Orion. She sent a scorpion, and the scorpion stung him. And well, scorpions are poisonous. And so Orion died by a scorpion that he was planning on killing, and Gaia got the best of him. And so what she did was she made the scorpion as a reward into a constellation. All right, but Orion ended up being a constellation too. So here's Orion, and you can see there are a lot of stars in Orion. And Orion is actually really easy to pinpoint once you kind of figure it out, because Orion's belt is these 3 stars that make a line, and they're very close together. And they're really the only stars in the sky that are really bright, that are just 3 together. And so if you look up and see that, then it's possible that you can kind of make out the figure of Orion. But Orion's belt, this section right here, is the easiest part of Orion to see. There are a couple of really bright stars. There's Rigel and there's Betelgeuse. This is only available in the winter, so you can only see it then. You won't be able to see it now. But again, Orion was that hunter. He just, again, he thought he was awesome, and he was planning on killing everything. So the scorpion was sent by Gaia and killed him. And well, she also decided that she was going to put Orion into the sky, I guess maybe as like a warning for other hunters, like, don't do that. But here's the thing, is she put Scorpius in the sky where you can see Scorpius in the summer. And then she put Orion in the sky where you can only see Orion in the winter. So you never see them both at the same time. It's kind of cool. All right. You have probably seen this, the Big Dipper. Well, the Big Dipper is actually part of a constellation. So the Big Dipper is just the most visible part of it. And you can see that here. It kind of looks like a ladle or some sort of like, fat spoon. It's actually part of the Big Bear. And Ursus Major, Ursus means bear, Ursa means bear, and then Major means big. So this is Big Bear. All right, there is Debay and Merak, which are the brightest stars, and you can see Ursus Major all year long. All right, this has also got a story that's based on Greek mythology. So if you don't know anything about Greek mythology, it's crazy, and you probably should look it up because it's interesting. All right, so Zeus was the king of all of the gods. And if you're not familiar with it, he was married to Hera. So Hera was his wife. But Zeus was a player. And so Zeus fell in love with Callisto. And well, they had a kid, and the kid's name was Arcus. And what Zeus ended up doing was Hera found out about Callisto